Come here, my boy who cried wolf. And don't just stand there. Come take your pills. A golden color pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with some of the awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Volva's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters, and Dolia's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Mom? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom. I was just thinking. About what, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You just gave me medication that is mind altering. That is literally supposed to make me just numb. No, I'm not all right. You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about that window. Ah, so you know my lying face. I'm all right, Mom. I'm not, but let's keep the charade going. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. The fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer, and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. The melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olia was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes and stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the different puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Yaga's voices died down. I walked past Olia's bedroom and slipped into my own. Monsters, ghosts, UFOs. The Encyclopedia Paranormal Phenomenon from Mosman Publishing. I learned about the Loch Ness Monster, Medusa Gorgon, and Bigfoot from there. Olia is always scared of the book. She could barely handle sitting through the monster and alien sections with me, but the middle part where they start to talk about the ghosts really freaked her out. I even remember hunting ghosts after I'd read that book. I measured the distance between items on my table every day and checked if they moved due to some supernatural force come the morning. They didn't. But to be honest, what was I expecting? To meet Casper the ghost? So I really like how some things... Ah! It's like... It doesn't show that it can be... Like here, it obviously says open, but there's other... You can interact with your environment. I don't know what these are. I'm not gonna click them yet. But Triceratops figure. I know about all sorts of dinosaurs. Velociraptors, Afronators, Hypsilophodonts. I just need Dino Dan in here. Hypsilophodonts. I remember going to the movies to see Jurassic Park back when we still lived in the city and taking pictures with a T-Rex in the hall. Oh, it turned its head and roared. It was awesome. And next to it was a Robotech transformer. I love this cartoon. When a jet figure speeds up in the intro among the sounds of blaster fire, you know your next 20 minutes will be surely amazing. Zentradi space station is captured. Rick, get ready for battle. Aww. My toys. I think... Oh, I dreamt of becoming an artist since Dad bought me my first comic book. Fly magazine was the coolest. I especially liked the big space-related edition with alien monsters and that funny episode about a Gendarm. I started drawing all kinds of stuff since that day, and I seemed to getting pretty good at it. One of my letters even got published in Fly once. Maybe someday they'll even publish my comic. Alright, I think I've clicked just about everything, so here we go. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the policeman's phone number along with the mitten in there. The simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. Only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. Olia? We mentioned before that she likes to hide behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was still blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The room's corners bent and undulated. What kind of medication does Mom have us in? The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a savant of sorts. Olia? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olia, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains. But-um, but-um, beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They're looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! Our sister is so cute. I know it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up behind Olia's head as the setting sun is the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day, and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a child woven from light. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Olia ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, You stole something and hid it there? Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind. That mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest? From the tilted figure standing behind the black trees? Olia could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone. Then I'll show you. Olia wore a plotting smile. I swear on my mom's heart. I know she once heard from a movie called about the pioneers we've watched. Don't say something like that. Hey, hon, I got coffee for you. I got coffee on. Olia nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olia leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it and got lost himself. Now, you do understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? I say this because I just experienced it myself. You must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olia traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny, where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later, for me? I changed the topic, as if trying to get Oli as far away as possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if I go find this boy myself. A lot of stuff, like in Field of Wonders. Sounds cool, right? Olia wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense. An owl won't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's, how should I put it? It's cursed or something. So you're gonna put a girl who loves Disney movies, loves fairy tales, and you're gonna tell her there's a cursed forest? Just like just like in a fairy tale? No, not like that. More like in that spooky tape Mom and Dad are hiding from us. Olia shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? No, it's just I was hurrying home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in the tower. I can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I wish for on my next birthday? I wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children, so we could go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and you make them smell as bugs. We could place them in the little box. Olia giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tony, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of highness apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone, and Mom is always busy. We could pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our takes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. So let's go, let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know. Let's play hide and seek. Like, she just wants to be with her brother, and we're just so exhausted either by fear, adrenaline, our medication. No, Alia. Then draw me a dino. Like, she's even going for, like, what makes us happy now. Alia, please. Draw it. Draw it. And she's probably thinking, like, if we draw it, then, or, like, our number one thing that still makes us happy, the last thing that makes us happy is drawing and painting. She's like, well, everything will be fine if you just draw it. Will you leave me alone already? I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken back. I never screamed at my little sister like that. Olia stared at me in shock. Her lips started to tremble, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olia from crying. Alright, you win. Let's go watch some cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! And just like that, you've saved the day. Triceratops. Well, close enough. Olia rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Wanna bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere on the nightstand. Look for it. Olia disappeared into the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. Olia's countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Olia doesn't sleep without it. She digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. A piggy bank. Olia is saving money for a real puppy because Dad said that taking care of him will take a lot of money. Aww, that is precious. That looks like Chip and Dale. I've got a little toy puppy here. I don't think I can interact with anything else besides the TV. So let's go. Definitely had one of these growing up. An old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up, and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR, when the noise calmed down and the blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest, just like outside my window, and the picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Yet a few minutes later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently I had used to always catch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna? What if I catch this channel again? On the other hand, Lilia asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her, but in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. I can either look, or I could set. We can look for it together when she gets back. Let's find this. The picture finally cleared up. But the moment I rejoiced at finding that weird signal again, the TV started coughing, a voice barely coming through the cacophony. He was often seen at the moment when small snowy hills were lined up on the screen, pierced with rickety crosses, and a male voice was narrating with a slow, mournful voice. It was a pitch-black night at the cemetery. In that fateful dark time, little Senya met her fate at the base of a monstrous thicket dweller. The locals call him none other than the Forest Master. I froze and did my best not to move, as if by doing that I could scare away the narrator. I listened closely to his every word. The beast dealt with the helpless girl in a masterful manner. The camera panned across the snow to something black spilled all over it, looking for ragged pieces of cloth that were torn all over the place. I didn't want to think of whether Senya's remains were wrapped in there, so I shut my eyes without thinking. The voice continued. Wolves are rare guests in these parts. Here's what Tamara, the old woman that lives in the nearby crypt, had to say. A close-up shot of the face of an old homeless woman, weary from life and alcohol abuse, rattled on the screen. We're 12. What do we know about alcohol abuse? Yes. Such a fearsome beastie it is. Worse than the raising dead. The old woman splattered saliva all over the rectangular mic. Ah! And the stink. It's like... The rest of her comparison was swallowed up by the sound of a horn. Never felt anything like that. It was just standing there, yes, right where you stand, boyo, and pierced me with its eyes, right in the middle of the day. It was so huge, that one, with glassy eyes. Obscenity was covered by another beep. You know, they say if this demon lays its eyes on you, it'll snatch you, put you in its bag, and you're done. But he won't touch me. Likes me, it seems. So they even call me the Devil's Wench. And it's definitely true. The carnivorous monster will not touch those who fell into the level of forest beasts, going for the innocent child's blood instead. The Forest Master's presence is felt more and more in the outskirts of our country. Torn between believing in what was said and shrugging it away, I decided to record the remaining part of the documentary for some reason. I quickly grabbed the tape that was on top of the TV and put it into the VCR without even looking at the cover. How much you want to bet that's actually the Peter Pan? I pressed record and turned up the sound and paid attention to the slipping signal. It's not called the Forest Master for nothing. All the animals obey it, be they hairy or feathery. They're all precursors for its appearance. If you hear howls in the distance, then it most likely already knows where you live. If you find animal prints all over your doorstep and birds watching you from the trees, you better hide. It's already coming for you. If you wake up at night and see a pair of eyes in your window, oh, this is Alia, then soon, soon, Hmm. The TV suddenly went mad and looped over the last word over and over. I got goosebumps all over my spine. You and me both. The tape ended and was rewinding to the beginning. The sound of rustling tape reminded me of leaves in the wind and the low howl of the beast. I woke up from my stupor and pressed the button. The VCR ejected the tape. For a moment, I thought it was stained with saliva. But that was just the light from the chandelier, making the black plastic glossy. And then I saw the cover. Oops. I wouldn't be saying oops. I recorded it over Peter Pan. That's what I get for hurrying. It's bad enough that I ruined Ollie's cartoon, but I also put this creepy stuff over it. I can't let her see this. We'll drown in tears. Not just she'll drown, this whole house is gonna drown. I snuck a glance at the door. I could hear the clatter of glass and the squeaky floorboards. Olia appeared in the doorway. You haven't started it without me, have you? Oh, this is a nice scene. I just want to, crop all of this. My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. No. I was looking for the tape. Do you really want to watch Peter Pan? Oh, that's us to her. I do. Turn it on already. Mom will come to watch her Brazilian drama soon. Come on, think fake detective. You know, I didn't like Peter Pan. Maybe we should watch Little Mermaid instead. You know, the movie you've been watching over and over and over. I've already seen it so many times. And you promised me. She's so stubborn. Come on, let's watch a couple of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle episodes first. Deal? That ain't her style, dude. Olia frowned, but ultimately gave up. She put down the tray and crossed her hands on her chest. If you want it so much, can you open the milk can? I'm afraid I'll cut myself with the sharp edges. I mean, more than that? That does look pretty jagged. What did Mom do? Open it with a knife? As soon as I stood up, colorful dots popped up before my eyes, and my sore legs were pierced by 1,000 needles. Only when I reached the sofa, I realized that the can was already open. Olia had tricked me, played me for a fool. My stomach became heavy. I wanted to rush towards the TV, but my little sister was faster. She picked up the remote and proclaimed in a victorious tone, "Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha! As the remote's master, I command you to watch Peter Pan." I couldn't even open my mouth, and the VCR had already eaten the accursed tape. She'll play it, and then black crosses on unmarked graves, empty crypts, bloody scraps on the snow, and the insane devil's wench. I'd better tell the truth. Olia, stop. I erased the end of your tape by accident. I'll trade it with you for 2 of mine. What do you mean? You couldn't erase it. Me and Dad had broken off all those plastic pens with a screwdriver. You can't record anything over my cartoons now. My little sister pressed the triangular play button on the remote. I squeezed on the inside, waiting for out-of-this-world voice of the narrator. But I saw the duel between Peter Pan and Captain Hook instead. I sighed in relief. My head, heavy as a leaded ball, now rested in my hands. Olia smiled in joy. She shut the tape on she put the tape on rewind and started spreading milk over her bread. And when the cartoon started, she forgot about everything in the world. As if she really got transported to Neverland, like she always wished. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where no one ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. But now, Peter Pan's land was especially far away from me. My thoughts dragged on, stumbled upon the horned beast that waited for me among the stars, and the narrator's mournful voice haunted me, sliding over bushes and ravines, like a winged carnivore would track its prey. I felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. What? What's going on? Tony, shut the curtains, fast. Why? No one's watching you. It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. I did my best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of branches scraping the snow. Tony, Mom thinks I made up the owl. And Dad, too, thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists. And honestly it does. You do believe me, right? And it comes every night, and... I swiftly grabbed Olia's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed, like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad say. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. But will it really? It was madness. But after seeing everything that's happened recently, I was more and more inclined to believe Olia's owl existed. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing at each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olia's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting slightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. The chorus was singing the ending song. The world of Disney was lit up by a silvery moon. Another moon peeked from under the first one. Scary and wan, hanging over the taiga forest. The horrific report got reported right over the credits. My throat went dry. My pulse became faster. I looked towards Olia. She smacked her lips in her sleep. I squeezed the remote with all my might, ready to press stop at any moment. I rewound the recording, checked if it was intact, and carefully took out the tape. The protective pin was still in place. I stood up and left Olia's room. Whether it was by providence or even by curse. I hid the tape alongside the mitten at the exact moment Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day of school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should be sleeping proper. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple. As if sound sleep wouldn't assure my classmates would like me, I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it was just a part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Something ethereal, entity, wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on and on. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. Ooh. Okay, so this is the end of episode 1 of Tiny Bunny. And, I wonder. Alright, so I can't see. It's free on Steam right now. Holy crow, is it worth it? I mean, almost 2 hours of content just from one episode. I don't know if it's gonna be like 5 episodes, it's gonna be like 8, but I so look forward to the rest of this saga. Thanks so much for joining me. I have a YouTube channel, that's my Twitch archive. Goes by the same name of Super Alpha 96. I usually try to stream on Mondays and Tuesdays, or Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then I upload the edited parts over to the YouTube channel. So hopefully I can hop back on later tonight, but have a good day.